I want you to understand why America is done speculating and is now ready to use crypto the way it was supposed to be used. This is the Crypto Investor Podcast, and my name is Daniel Reinhardt. I want to slow this down a little bit because this episode is not for people that are chasing charts. It is not for the people that are asking if this token will pump in the next week. And it's not definitely for the people who think crypto adoption happens on Twitter, who think crypto adoption happens on Telegram. This episode is for real people. People living real lives, people that are paying real bills, people that are running real businesses. And if I want to talk to you today the way I would if we were sitting somewhere local, maybe in a cafe, maybe in a community hall, maybe just two people having an honest conversation about where crypto actually is in America right now, I would definitely use this podcast, because there is a confusion that I keep saying, not just among American investors, but globally. And the confusion sounds like this, that Solana is a crypto. TroptionsUnity is also a crypto. But people would wonder which one is better. And I think today I simply want to get deep to understand the difference between Solana and TroptionsUnity, and if they are all brought into your eyes for you to choose which one would actually go with. And I'm going to say something that might upset a few people, but it needs to be said. That question, whether to invest in Solana or TroptionsUnity, or being confused or asking yourself if Solana is better than TroptionsUnity or if TroptionsUnity is better than Solana, I think it's completely wrong. And I want to explain why. Because Solana is not competing with TroptionsUnity, not at all. And this is my honest belief. Because Solana is not a product, Solana is not a business, Solana is not an economy, but Solana is an infrastructure. And if you understand that, you will definitely not ask yourself if TroptionsUnity is better than Solana or the other way around. TroptionsUnity is not an infrastructure. TroptionsUnity is an operating economy that is built on top of the Solana infrastructure. I want to understand if we are going on the same page. I said that Solana is not a product, and I said that Solana is not a business. I also said that Solana is not an economy. And I said Solana is simply an infrastructure. Are we together? I said TroptionsUnity is not an infrastructure, but it is an operating economy that is built on top of the Solana infrastructure. That's the relationship. And once you understand that, everything else clicks into place. I think I should put this into the simplest way possible, because sometimes crypto people like to overcomplicate things, and new joinees really find it complex. Solana is like the internet, the satellite internet, the fiber internet. That's how Solana is like. Take it, Solana, to be the internet. Then TroptionsUnity to be something like Amazon or PayPal or Shopify running on the internet. So Solana is the internet infrastructure. Then TroptionsUnity is the Amazon, is the PayPal, is the Shopify economies built on the internet. You understand? TroptionsUnity utilizes Solana's infrastructure. Now think about how strange it would sound if Amazon woke up one day and said that we are competing with the internet. It is impossible, because Amazon is not the internet itself. If the internet is off, Amazon is off. If Amazon is off, the internet almost makes no utility, because what are you going to do there apart from rumambongaling maybe on TikTok? But Amazon is a very strong infrastructure on the internet. Okay, so that would be very absurd. So the internet itself doesn't sell products. The internet doesn't process payments. The internet doesn't run customer support. The internet doesn't create trust with everyday users. But the internet does enable all that, but it doesn't do it. Okay? And this is where most crypto conversations go completely off the rails, because people keep comparing road rails and trains. This is different. The railroads are so different from the trains, and each does its own purpose. They keep comparing highways to businesses, infrastructures to economies. It is definitely wrong. So TroptionsUnity does not exist without Solana. And Solana becomes meaningful because of things like TroptionsUnity. So one gives power and the other gives purpose. That's the relationship between TroptionsUnity and Solana. Okay? So there is a reason why infrastructure alone doesn't create adoption. Let me say something uncomfortable, but it is the honest truth here. You can build a blockchain that does 65,000 transactions per second and still be completely irrelevant to normal Americans. You can build a blockchain that does over 65,000 transactions per second and still be completely irrelevant to normal Americans. And why does this happen? Because Americans don't wake up thinking about TPS. No, they don't do that. Transactions per second, no, they don't. They actually don't care about that. But they wake up thinking, can I pay for something? They wake up thinking, can I run my business? Can I move money cheaply? Can I trust this system? Does this solve a real problem in my life? That's the question. That's the question. So if a blockchain doesn't answer those questions, it doesn't matter how fast it is. It doesn't. And this is where I want to be very clear that this is not an anti-Solana episode. No. But this is the reality. So Solana today is not a payments app. Solana today is not an e-commerce platform. Solana today is not a humanitarian network. It is not a business model. It is simply a high-performance highway. That's it. But a highway with no destinations doesn't change lives. So developers were given an incredibly powerful tool, and many choose speculation instead of service. There's so many tokens and, a lot of shit tokens happening on Solana, not utilizing the Solana infrastructure very well. Again, this is not an insult, it is my personal observation. So, usability and utility means a lot to Americans. Now, let's talk about usability from a US perspective, not a crypto Twitter perspective. Because usability does not like, because it's not likes. Usability is not likes. Usability is not hype. It's not influencers shouting onto microphones or Twitter or Telegram or YouTube. Usability in America is very boring. That's for the fact, and I think I've personally seen it happen. Usability in America is so boring, but very powerful. Actually, extremely powerful. Usability means, can I pay with it? Usability means, can I run a business with it? Usability means, can I accept customers with it? It means, can I move money cheaply elsewhere? Can I trust this system? Does it solve something real? And that's it. And if a token can't do the things, it doesn't matter how popular it is in the US. Because popularity does not equal usefulness. The popularity of a token does not equal usefulness. And usefulness is what drives adoption. So a crypto can actually not be popular, but actually very, very useful in the American standards, and actually it can be highly usable and highly into utility adoption. So the Solana's honest role, let's give it its credits because it deserves it. So Solana has proved speed, Solana has proved low fees, Solana has proved high throughput, Solana has proved global scalability. So Solana solved the technical problem. That's the truth. Solana is here to solve the technical problem. The technical infra, the best term to use here. But technology alone does not build economies. That's my thought. Technologies alone does not build economies. Technology needs applications. It needs services. It needs real world touch points. And I think this is where TroptionsUnity is coming in from. Because TroptionsUnity is now an economic layer. It is not a trend. It is not a meme. It is not a weekend experiment. It comes from a 23-year-old US company, that is Troptions Incorporation. And here's the important part most people miss, that the mission of Troptions existed before even crypto came into existence in 2009 when Bitcoin officially became a real crypto and, published everywhere across the world and on the internet, But Troptions at large, they stood for trade, for e-commerce, for humanitarian causes, basically for digital barter systems. So blockchain wasn't the idea, but it was the tool that was adopted later to scale up the idea when it comes to Troptions. So TroptionsUnity, apparently it is running on Solana, not because Solana is fashionable, but because Solana can handle real volume. Solana can handle real users and it can handle real economic activity. So in my view, I think TroptionsUnity is what Solana was built for. Not speculation loops, but functioning economies. So institutions don't adopt blockchains, but institutions adopt business models that actually work. And this matters right now in the US market. So something quiet is happening in America right now. If you're not paying attention, you will miss it. The US crypto economy is moving away from speculation, from meme cycles, from empty promises, and it is moving forward to real world usability, to actually real world asset tokenization, to utility driven systems. And it is an important question to ask, why now? Why is it actually happening now? Because ETFs have now normalized crypto, because regulation is now tightening, because institutions want compliant systems, because retail investors are now banned out. So people are tired. People are so tired. They don't want to gamble anymore, but they want tools that actually work. And I think this is why utility tokens with corporate structure and real operations suddenly matter more than simply naked layer 1 chains. So TroptionsUnity isn't competing with Solana, that's for sure. And that's why I actually made this particular episode. It is not competing with Solana, but it is competing with the empty space on top of Solana. So it is turning raw technology into something more human. Let me simplify this, because people misuse this word a lot. A utility token is not something you hope goes up, but I think it is something that you use because it makes your life much more. So if you don't want to spend it, then it is not actually utility. If you're scared to use it because price might drop or actually rise up when you've already utilized it, then it's not actually utility. Bitcoin, it is a store of value. Yes, that's for sure. I don't think Bitcoin is right now peer-to-peer crypto. It is now more of store of value. Ethereum is an infrastructure asset, just like you see Solana. When you look at Monero, it is a privacy tool. So basically, utility tokens are here for paying, for selling, for accessing services, for running platforms, for supporting causes. They are digital economic fuels and not speculative trophies. And most crypto today is not utility at all. If you look at those tokens on your coin market cap, they are not utility at all. And that is dangerous, you know. So TroptionsUnity as a living example, it is not theoretical. We've already seen healthy platforms like Beehive Wellness Center accepting utility, and I think Beehive Wellness Center is yet about to launch. We've already seen tokenized malaria eradication initiatives in Nigeria and in the tropics in place right now. We've seen restaurants in California. I have seen Poppin Burgers and Wings in California accepting TroptionsUnity. I've seen community-based humanitarian programs fighting fentanyl drug abuse happening and utilizing TroptionsUnity. I think something real is actually happening, and this is what utility actually looks like. It starts with companies to individuals. Then it grows from individuals to individuals. Real adoption actually doesn't start with the traders. It doesn't. But it starts with businesses. And Troptions Incorporation has been building towards this for over 2 decades now. So blockchain simply make it scalable. Adoption is completely changing in the US. Speculative tokens, just there to be traded. Utility tokens are now bringing in real users. So when you look at it, traders come and go. When markets are actually not doing amazing, they simply go. But users stay because they make these platforms their own businesses. So when people use a token to live, not to gamble, adoption becomes permanent. And this is why TroptionsUnity design matters in the US right now. Because America doesn't reject crypto, but America rejects chaos. Regulators, they fear fraud, not blockchain. And institutions, they want revenue and they do not want hype. Businesses want systems, they do not want memes. So a token that is attached to a company, to a mission, to a real economic activity, it definitely fits the American logic. So TroptionsUnity is basically not important because of price, but it is important because it shows what crypto looks like when it grows up. Solana built the highway. TroptionsUnity is building homes, it is building shops, it is building hospitals, it is building the markets on top of Solana. And that, whether people are ready to admit it or not, this is where real adoption in America is heading. And that's the conversation that we need to be having. Daniel Enhard is my name. Thank you for listening in. This is the Crypto Investor Podcast. Share this episode with a friend if you think it will be of a benefit. Bye for now. See you in the next episode.